Noir. We'll begin the video with a little forecast. Yesterday I bought this book in a used copy, and after reading a lot of Noir, I sprinted down to the library and got myself a copy of The Public Burning, a novel by Robert Coover, also affectionately known as Bob Coover. You know, there are some books that you try to upload into the hard drive of your mind on a first read, and it says, nope, nope, you can't do it. I mean, there's Blanche and there's Noir, and this is definitely like a book that's kind of got this white color palette. Now, my first experience with Robert Coover was to listen to him talk and then come up to him afterward and shake his hand and say, I want to be a novelist. And he basically just told me to work hard. I found this book, The Origin of the Brunist, probably also at a St. Vinny's, although I probably took off the sticker. If you see me like walking down the street, I'm probably just taking a sticker off a book. This is a really good book, and I was kind of alerted to it by, I mean, it's an interesting book, and I was alerted to its existence by the publication of the Brunist Day of Wrath, which was published in like 2014 when I was in college. Before that, I had this book, the first Robert Coover book I ever owned, The Adventures of Lucky Pierre, Director's Cut, which I was lucky Pierre enough to get in a hardcover from A Room of One's Own. This is what it looks like out of that jacket. A very nice shade of mustard on here. A lot of grisly stuff going on in here. A lot of good, I guess, like porn scenes. I read the first like 60 pages of this book when I was at the art museum, the Modern Art Museum in Madison, sometime before the pandemic happened. And I read it kind of on one of those weird sofas by the cafe. Any marks? I don't think I did, but I thought it was just beautifully written, and I did kind of intuit that if I were to read the whole thing, I'd be overwhelmed. And this right here is a novel that makes you, it's so noir-y, it's such a pimple on the body of noir books that it makes you kind of not want to read the noir novel you were planning to read next. Let me know would any of you like to see like a little video where I go through my little collection of these? I mean, here's the collection at a glance of like noir novels. My reaction to reading noir is kind of like my reaction to reading Crying of Lot 49, where at the end you're like, I really need to read everything else this author wrote, but you know, not right now. Will I ever finish this book? It remains to be seen. These Raymond Chandlers and Dashiell Hammetts and so forth, Jim Thompsons and George V. Higginses. Yeah, basically, this is a good noir thing here. I mean, this makes you want to read more by the person because it's actually like very readable, I guess. Got this after seeing Paperbird's book of video on John Hawkes, and I wonder if this. I think this is kind of noir-y. But the thing about noir is it's such an intense, like noir book that it makes you, it really satisfies you. You are sated, you are full, you are, you know, you're almost, I mean, you're really stuffed. And there is good food in the book. There are these wonderful parfaits that are mentioned. There's one that has a lot of rum raisins, and then there's one that has hot butterscotch, maraschino cherries, and marshmallows on top. And wait, maraschino or maraschino? Instead of a chocolate twig sticking out, there was a rolled up note from rats asking you to meet him in the railway freight yard near the grain elevator at sundown. Sundown? That thing still came up? I feel like that little passage exemplifies some good things about this book. I assure you all, when I like a book, you are the second to know. When I enjoy a book, you are the second to know. So in that little bit I read you about the parfait that has the little note in it, the little piece of paper, and you think, oh, well, paper isn't food. Well, the narrator addresses this. Money's sometimes called lettuce. You try it. It's not lettuce. I think that this book is about a reading experience. You try lettuce and it's not lettuce. You read a book and you don't get the book. You get a shadow of the book that's kind of playing out in your mind. And this is the account of a reading experience. It's like what happens if you read a noir novel of like some 20, 25 scenes. And for each of those 20, 25 scenes, what you kind of remember is a scene that feels like what these are. Lots of maybes, lots of dreamlike, lots of unclear assailants, lots of roles played by the various characters. especially Blanche, one of the main characters of the novel. I won't give anything away. Everyone in this novel is getting the protagonist, who is also you, to wear lots of different clothes. You know, to wear lots of different ladies' clothes, and that can feel a lot like what reading a book feels like. This is told in the second person. That's the first thing that you'll see when you go to Goodreads it. And also, I will say that this like blur, the blurriness of the cover is very appropriate. Not only because the events of the novel are kind of hazy, and they do dissolve for plot reasons, and also just because style is incendiary, but like also the blur is appropriate because there's a lot of tailing and chasing, following, running, fleeing in this book. You're kind of barreling through this nightmare, and you're barreling down into blind alleys. And I also was reminded of the term blind alley from this novel. There are a couple amazing set pieces in this book that I want to talk about. You will love the tattoo description at the start, and you're also going to enjoy the mannequin scene, and I mean, peeing into the leg of a mannequin, you know? And here are some bits that I especially liked. On a hunch is to a gumshoe what a skirt is to a lech, a tease, pursuit, trouble. When he lit up a cigar, paid, donned his Panama, and left, you decided to step out into the drizzle and follow him. That's a little like what it feels like to read this book, you know? It feels a little bit lecherous to read this book. Feels a little bit like you're reading like Crash in high school or something. I mean, it is kind of grisly and sort of seedily erotic, but I think a lot of things by Coover are like that, and I don't really have any good thoughts about it yet. Copy 2010, The Overlook Press. I know a lot of fans of BookTube are big on this Tusk Overlook stuff. A lot of good gems getting put out by that press over the years and then quickly falling out of print. This is kind of a novel. I mean, it may be a novel about aroma. Not to give the Wordle answer away, but it might be a novel about the smell of the noir, not the content of the noir. There was an Ashbery poem I was reading this morning about like being awash in a sea of content or something, or in the shallows of content. I'll find that and read it to you. But you get stuff like the place was irritatingly cheerful and stank of milk and bubblegum. Like the morgue, sweet rot. I like the interchangeability of the happy environment or the bubblegum environment and the claustrophobic morgue full of creeps and little cubby holes. There was actually a duffel bag in one of them. It was full of candy bars, jawbreakers, bubblegum, all-day suckers, and children's underwear. Now, I only knew of the term all-day sucker from Stevie Wonder because one of my favorite Stevie Wonder songs is called All Day Sucker. And I was thinking that like All Day Suckers could be a cool name for a novel. Basically what I'm doing right now is going through a list of notes that I took on things that I liked from the book, and I'm using them as opportunities to say what about the book and I guess life the bits remind me of. So thank you for tagging along so far. There's a mystery here, but you're a street dick, not a metafish. There's a mystery here, but you're a street dick, not a metaphysician. You've no time to muse on it. They're already clattering down the basement stairs. It's another microcosmic little thing. You know, being the blurry line between street dick and metaphysician is, I guarantee you, interesting to Robert Coover and Cooveralites such as Edwidge Danticat and T.C. Boyle and Ben Marcus. You know those sentences in a novel that kind of describe the novel's project as you understand it? Like, I used to enjoy those sentences more than I enjoy them now, but I still enjoy them. I enjoy recognizing them. This one was a little on the nose. No idea. Connections, probably an illusion in such a fucked up world as this. This novel is a sweet rot of tropes. And one of those tropes is food. Pay attention to the role a caramel frosted strawberry and peppercorn donut plays in the story, such as it is. And one last bit, at the risk of boring you to death, I liked this. It's a perfect night. I mean, this is kind of a climactic sentence, beginning a climactic part of the book. It's a perfect night. Wind, rain, gloomily overcast. The puddled reflections more luminous than the street lamps they reflect. Now this ties back to the thing I was saying earlier of like, you are reading a crime novel. and you're misreading it, and you're failing to understand the complicated plot. And in your mind, you see these beautiful, scary settings, dead ends and nightmarish, like, you know, abattoirs and what have you. And the characters are like way sexier than they're being described. They're way scarier than they're being described. And they're also way more amorphous than they're being described once they're in your mind. Like when you have a dream about somebody, sometimes you'll have dreams about various people who are people that you've broken people from your life up into. And you get these like facet people that populate your dreams, not the people themselves, of course. And like basically Noir is like that perfect night of kind of those puddles in which are reflected more brightly than they appear in the novel, as the author even kind of has drawn it, than in the novel. You know, like they appear more brightly, the street lights appear more brightly in the puddles than they are in the book or whatever. You know, I don't know why I do this Jamesian prose talking thing. It's really tedious, but you get my point. So anyway, that's kind of a brief thing about Noir. There are a bunch more things that I kind of dug. I wrote things down. I liked the tailing the blackmailer. I like the corpulence of the characters. I don't know. Zit plus toy soldiers was a beautiful thing to say. I wrote down Scheherazade. I wrote Scheherazade-like, but because I thought it was a good idea to have stories embedded in the story, like especially in a noir. When tone is so important, it's good to have your frame narrative be so flavorful, and then get to put in little tiny stories like, oh, I remember a crime I once solved. But so I wrote down Scheherazade-like, but as I wrote it, it kind of looks like Scheherazadelia, like psychedelia, Scheherazadelia. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a really good day.